Okay, I am here with Talia Scarborough, and we're being really cute introverts and admitting that we're nervous.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, but I like how now after admitting that I'm a little nervous, I suddenly feel less nervous.
Yeah.
Did that work for you too?
Yes, totally. Naming it helps so much.
Yeah, and just like, okay, now everybody knows
Yeah.
we're nervous. Okay. Well, I'm gonna read your bio. Uh, Talia is a coach for highly sensitive, introverted women. She has a degree in psychology and anthropology, as well as a certificate in life coaching. She's all about supporting introverts to slow down and live a dreamier, more regulated pace of life. And she lives in Auckland, New Zealand with her fiance, two willful pups, and three flatmates, or as we would say, roommates. Although you don't share a room, but nobody knows what a flat is.
Interesting. There's a little difference. Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't say like apartment mate. Like that's what we call a
No.
flat. The
Housemate, maybe?
housemate if it's a house, but not if it's a flat.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that work out being an introvert with so many
Yeah.
lives amongst each other in your home?
Yeah, great question. Okay. Well, it's actually the reason that I was able to leave my other work, my full-time work to work on my business, is that we bought a rather big, although it's a bit of a doer-upper. In fact, you can probably see we're trying to renovate my office. So ignore the mess. But yeah, we bought quite a big house, and that means we were able to get in three flatmates or housemates, and I was able to leave my work and work on my business full time. And how it is for me as an introvert is it's actually quite good because I have to practice what I teach. I do live in quite a busy house. Um, but having said that, I think at least two of the people are also, of my flatmates are also introverted, and one is sort of more in the middle. My partner is extroverted though, so that's actually probably the person that I most need to be boundaried with in terms of my energy and just communicate. Um, hey, I actually need to step away from the conversation for a little bit. I just need to recharge. Once I'm recharged, I am so happy to chat, but just right now I've done a whole bunch of work and I can't.
That's so good. And it's that to me is like the goal is to be so self-aware that
Yes.
you're not like fighting just to make distance
Yeah.
or using some weird coping maladaptive behavior just for the
Yes.
sake of taking some space.
Yes. Yeah. And you've kind of hit the nail on the head there in terms of my work because a lot of it is trying to build consciousness and build self-awareness in people, in introverts, because once you're aware, most people will take care of their needs quite happily and relatively easily once they're aware. But it's most of us aren't aware. We're just kind of going through life, coping, like you said, in unhealthy ways a lot of the time. And that is where, things like crutches like, drugs and other things. There's a lot, but I mean, I have worked with a couple of people who have relied on, smoking weed or drinking just to cope with the overwhelm because it kind of shuts down your brain, aspects of your
Mhm.
brain. So it
Yeah.
can feel like it's just kind of uh, dampening down that overwhelm and that sense of you don't have control over your life because it does feel like that when you're flooded and you're overwhelmed. It absolutely feels like you have no control over your own life. which is really awful and hard. So, yeah.
Yeah, big time. I know. I, I've talked about this before. I am a recovering alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in almost 5 years. And yeah, and I've found out that it was just that flooding of stimulus and expectation and um that I that's what I was trying to soothe with
Yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Totally.
taking that out. I'm finding now, like, whenever I'm like, oh, I just want a beer. If I'm thinking about that, it's like, wait, what I really need is some quiet time, a walk, getting back in touch with myself. Like, that's what I really want, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we jumped right
We
into it.
did. It's just so I love talking about this stuff, but yeah, we can reel it back. We can go from the beginning.
Let's go to the beginning. So, what is an introvert, Talia?
Great. Thank you for asking. Okay. Well, yeah. So, caveat. So, there is a very well-defined, let's say, scientific definition, but what we're exposed to mostly is probably pop culture interpretations of introversion and extroversion. So, I just want to define it really quite briefly in a nutshell. So, in a nutshell, introversion is simply a psychological preference for how you direct your energy. And specifically, introverts, they get their energy from going inward. So, spending time alone, doing hobbies, thinking deeply, reflecting, anything that is essentially done in solitude and helps us to nurture our inner world is how introverts are going to build up that battery and recharge. And then we expend energy anytime we have to interact socially with people. And even like doing things like a doing energy is quite exhausting and draining for us. So even if you're not talking to people, but like you have to go out in the world and smash out like several tasks, that can be quite draining for us. So we're definitely inward focusing creatures, and we like to reflect over act. And it's the opposite. It's in reverse for extroverts. They gain energy when they interact. So with people, they it's quite funny if you're ever in a conversation with an extrovert, which I often am, you'll see them as your energy is going down throughout the conversation, their energy is going up, and it can be quite a mismatch, and it can be quite like, oh, that's overstimulating. Please stop.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting having an extroverted partner because, yeah, like I said, that's how he gets his energy, but he actually expends energy doing the things I like to do, which is to talk deeply, reflecting, like, say, on our relationship. I love talking about relationships. That for him, he'll absolutely do it, but like, just like for me, when I'm interacting socially, it's draining him. So it's an effort. Like he has to put an effort to do that side of things.
That makes so much sense. Is there such a thing as an omnivert?
Um, there, uh, okay. So I guess technically no, um, because when you look at the original research, Carl Jung, is the first one. Well, he came up with this introvert extrovert thing. Um, Technically, no, because nobody is actually completely introverted or completely extroverted in the first place.
Hmm.
So it's a preference. So like for me, I'm on the continuum towards the end of introversion because I prefer to direct my energy inward. But I can absolutely access extroverted characteristics, and so can any introvert, and you will sort of fall on the continuum either towards polar ends. introvert, extrovert, or you'll fall more towards the middle. And that's where I think other researchers, perhaps, or pop psychology has sort of brought in the term. It's actually it's ambivert to describe that middle section of people who are, either slightly on the introvert or extrovert side of the continuum, but like clustered around the middle, which is actually most people. It is a bell curve. Most people are a lot more similar than they think. But there are definite differences between introverts and extroverts.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so I read somewhere, Myers-Briggs
Yes.
personality
Next
types.
one. Yes.
So my husband and I are both INFJ or possibly
Ooh.
P sometimes, but I read that we look like extroverts if we're in the right setting.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Okay. The reason I was like, ooh, is I'm also an INFJ. Um, and it's actually the rarest Myers-Briggs type.
Oh,
So I guess
ooh la
it's
la.
special in that sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's specifically for INFJs. I would say a lot of introverts have great access to their extroverted sides in certain situations. Like, I am extroverting a little bit now because I want to get my work out. I want to chat with you about this, but so I am definitely drawing a lot of energy to talk about and put out my message, and I'm doing the same on social media. So we definitely can use our extroverted sides, and in fact, I encourage my introverted clients to pseudo extrovert responsibly. So I think it is actually imperative that we use all parts of ourselves, and there's definitely times where it's essential to access this extroverted side for passion projects or for your work. The trick is in recognizing when you're doing it, not doing it for huge amounts of time, and recharging afterwards, building in a recharge period. So for me, to record this podcast, which I've been so excited about, I actually will not do any other work today after this. I'm streamlining all my energy into this. And I mean, I don't expect it to like totally drain me because it's one-on-one, it's deep, it's about something I'm passionate about. But just in case, I have blocked out the rest of the day for rest and whatever I want to do. And that's kind of, that's kind of what I have to teach people, is that pseudo extroverting is not a bad thing. It's really useful. I've used it for speaking in front of large audiences, which, that is an effort to be sure. But it was important to me. And so I sort of had to put on a little bit of armor, a little bit of extrovert charisma and energy, and then I could speak to an audience. And then afterwards, I need to come home to myself and go back to what I need as an introvert to feel well and return to baseline. So, yeah.
That's so validating to hear you say that. I think I don't know. I think I'm slightly more extroverted than my mom.
Yeah.
And so I felt like she was always like shielding herself with me. And I have this idea, oh, Bridgid, so social. Bridgid can talk to them. Like, Bridgid, go sing for them and hide me. And like, so I grew up with this idea that I am the most social butterfly in the world.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and it was like a big crash and burn eventually.
Oh,
I'm like, I just want to hide in the woods for the rest of my life.
yeah. I had the same experience because in high school I took psychology, and interestingly enough, I tested as an ENFJ, Myers-Briggs. I tested as an extrovert. And the reason is the situation I was in at high school, at school, meant that I had to be a social butterfly. So I had to over perform, like really put out my extroverted side, which is not my preferred side, but because I was in a situation where, like, in order to survive in school, you need to play along with the social hierarchy, right? You need to be a social butterfly. So because I was fully in that mode, I tested as an extrovert. And, this is you. I don't really want to get into it because it's not super the point, but this is a critique of Myers-Briggs, is that it is self-reported.
Right.
So, like the results can be inaccurate in that sense sometimes. But so like that one would be inaccurate in the sense that I'm introverted, but it was reflecting, excuse me, I'm still recovering from my cold. It was reflecting my personality in that situation of high school setting. So yeah, so it is really interesting because I thought for quite a bit of my early life that I was extroverted and I was really social. And then as I got older and got out of that context where I was being forced to perform, I realized actually, no, like that's not what feels natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I retested later on in uni, when I was actually studying at tertiary level psychology, I came up with INFJ. And I was like, okay, I am an introvert after all. There we go.
I don't even know when I figured it out. I think just watching your material is when I figured out, because I kind of I thought, I mean, because I love people,
Yes.
and so I would get really excited about people, and I love so many people. And then and I even told you the story of, like, when I was a little girl, inviting every girl from my class, from my
Yeah.
Girl Scout troop, every girl that I met on the playground, I invited them all to my birthday. And then the day came, and here's all these people, and I just ran into my bedroom and put the covers over my face, and I
Oh,
cried, and I would not come
yes.
out because it's like, no, I really do want you at my birthday, but and then so overwhelming to
Yes.
really have it. It wasn't a building experience. And I think that's how I lived a lot of my life. And it's, yeah, it's so strange to find out as an adult that you have this misdirected self concept.
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird, eh? Like you sort of you get a little bit shaken because you're like, oh, what I thought of myself is not as true as I thought it was. Yeah, but like with your birthday, it's quite your party story is quite interesting because I think in pop culture around the concept of introverts, we're very much seen as awkward, socially anxious, shy, kind of nerdy, bookish recluses. Like um, people don't think that we like talking to people, but we actually we love people. We want to connect deeply with people. Um,
Seriously, yeah.
yeah, and we actually crave that depth. And I actually I was really reminded of this while I was sick recently because I was basically isolating and out. I had to reschedule everything for like 3 weeks. And so I got
Wow.
really bored. And, I mean, I had interactions with people in my house, but nobody outside of that. And I got really bored. And even though I had all this alone time and time to rest, it wasn't enough. Like I do, like we, as introverts, we do need social interaction. We just need it in a specific way. We want one-to-one or small groups, and we want it to be deep. We don't want to talk about, I don't know, the weather or the
A
latest
sports
superhero movie.
team.
Yeah, sports. Yeah, that's definitely one. Just I can't.
I've never understood it.
Just like, do I look like I follow the rugby?
Okay, how's this? I'm um a musician. I love music and I always prefer listening to a well-produced album on the floor of my living room and staring at the ceiling than going to an actual live show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's such an interesting one because I am always like, oh my gosh, this artist that I love is in town. Let's go to the concert. And I'll be really excited and I'll get there and I'll start to feel like, oh, this is quite yeah, this is quite a heavy energetic load. Like this is overstimulating. And we actually went to see a couple of years ago. Like there were two. It was like a double show. Two artists that we liked. We left after the first artist finished because I couldn't like too many people, too loud. I need to start wearing earplugs to concerts. It's
Oh,
just too
always.
loud. You
Yeah,
always do. Oh, it's a good
always have.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm always like ever so slightly disappointed because I can't, yeah, like you just hear it, you experience it better on the floor in your room, just listening to the recording than you do in that concert situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that was my working environment too. Like I thought,
Oh,
okay, I love music. I want to get deep into music. I want to learn audio engineering. I
oh,
studied I studied this and I got jobs running sound at concert venues.
yes.
And then, you get like bottomless drinks when you're doing this. And oh, I need that to like
Oh,
handle my working environment to cope with this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just such a weird dive, like this desire to really get into it.
yeah.
And then, yeah, not knowing that I'm an introvert, I just kind of walked off the plank.
Yes.
Yeah.
It happens to a lot of us because it's not like they're teaching us in school, really, that this is an important aspect of caring for ourselves. And it is. Like I would say it's not the be all end all. Like I'll just be completely honest with you. My work is not the be all end all of well-being and taking care of yourself, but it is a really easy and obvious starting point because I think if you're an introvert living in an extrovert biased society, you know it, like you feel it. Even if you're not aware of it, your body is feeling it. And your mind is actually picking up wounds and messaging. Like a really common one is, I'm not good enough because the dominant messaging in my society in New Zealand and definitely in America is if you're not extroverted, you're not good enough. You're not bubbly enough. You're not charismatic enough. You're not energetic enough. You're you're not action oriented enough.
Mm.
So that filters in, and so lots of introverts, particularly introverted women, because we have the messaging about being women as well,
We
interacting.
need to take care of everybody.
We need to take care of everybody. We should probably just be quiet and do that. Like that is the messaging. So yeah, like that filters through. And so a lot of introverts are quite wounded by that and have to first of all notice that they're laboring under this wound and then start to counteract it. And so that's the unshaming and undermining the norm kind of work that I like to do with people. It's really important because otherwise we stay under that society's shackles, basically.
Okay, so I'm wondering if maybe you have some wisdom to share for the people who I want to reach, which is helping professionals.
Hmm.
Because this is like exactly what we're talking about. Like, I love people. I want to help people. I
Yes.
can feel their needs. I want to go and meet everybody's needs
Yeah.
in the world. And so I will therapize and heal and provide all sorts of services from my heart to
Yes.
these people. And then complete burnout
Yes. Ugh.
because, yeah, we're not taught that we even deserve our own little corner of the universe to recharge.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, to be honest, I haven't worked with a huge number of helping professionals apart from coaches and teachers. I do actually have a lot of insight into the teaching profession. I worked for 5+ years directly with teachers and providing PD and recruiting them for schools because we've got a bit of a teaching, well, shortage in New Zealand. But also, my partner is a high school teacher, so I do have quite a bit of insight into the struggles there. So I guess I'll start with that. Yeah, so it's really interesting because when I was running a PD, one of the participants, one of the teachers, said, "Hey, so are most teachers extroverts then? Because you were saying like, I was sort of analyzing the schooling system and classrooms about like how they're very extrovert biased. You're 30 plus kids. I mean, I don't know what it's like in America, but 30
Oh, yeah.
plus kids.
30 plus kids times like 6,
Yeah, yeah,
for just coming through all the time. Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot for introverts and particularly sensitive, highly sensitive introverts. It's kind of awful actually. But yeah, so we were talking a little bit about that, and one of the teachers raised her hand and said, are most teachers extroverts then? Is that like how do introverts cope in the teaching profession? And I said, yeah, no, they're not mostly extroverts. I would say a lot are introverts. I don't know the exact percentage, but a lot are. Because the desire to teach and nurture, it's it's the same for introverts and extroverts. There's no like particular difference there. So a lot of introverts go into the teaching profession with just wonderful dreams and high hopes, and they very quickly get jaded and burnt out, and it's not their fault. It's we need to recognize, in order to not gaslight ourselves, we need to recognize the context that they're working in. They're working in a very extrovert favoring context. So day in, day out, there's a lot of overwhelm. There's too many kids for one teacher to really manage and maybe teach to the level that they had hoped going in. That depth that would have nurtured them of that's not available because you can't teach 30 plus kids
No,
well.
without abusing them.
Yeah.
Like you have to
It's just
be abusive to get them. Or have a very special skill set of captivating their hearts and minds
yeah.
without abuse. But
And I
no,
mean,
I'm
lots of
I'm an
teachers do, but
unschooler. Huh?
oh, you're an unschooler. Yeah, I personally do tend. I don't have kids yet, but like I do tend towards unschooling. I just, yeah, I mean that's a personal opinion, but I just think it's better. Um,
Right. Well, and it's no shade to teachers. It's just like anthropologically, it's such
mm,
an unnatural way for humans to exist.
yeah. And I think just my experience of the schooling system, and again, I only know the schooling system here, um, just the strain it's under, I can quite comfortably say that I think unschooling, if you have the resources and stuff, like it's definitely a tricky uh, avenue to take. If you have the resources, it can definitely be a better education. But having said that, my partner is a teacher, and I know from the bottom of my heart that there's so many amazing teachers out there. I don't think it's teachers. They're not the problem at all. It's the system that they're working in.
Yes, I am nodding my head. For
Yeah.
anybody who's just listening, I'm very much nodding my head.
I think
Yes.
teachers are amazing. But I just,
100%.
I,
And nobody can give every kid everything that they need.
yeah,
So some teachers will be better for some kids than other kids.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
judgment. It's just, yeah, it's the industrialized,
Yes,
churn them and burn them
yeah,
sort of approach
exactly,
to raising
exactly.
humans.
And like these teachers, they are working under so much stress. They're so overworked. Much like other helping professionals, like nurses and doctors and things. So the context that they're working in is really difficult. So yeah, no shade to teachers. It's really difficult. And if you're an introvert, so if we get back to introverts, introverted teachers, you first of all you need to recognize that context is difficult, and then you need to do what you can within a difficult situation to support your well-being. So this means familiarizing yourself with what it means to be an introvert so that you can work with that part of yourself and not mask it and not what do you call detach it, to integrate it in and work with it, because there's a lot that introverted teachers can offer their students. If you think about that, the research shows that approximately 50%, half the population is introverted. That means approximately half the kids are going to be introverts. So you can offer a lot to them by nurturing that part of yourself and recognizing that they too are struggling in a difficult system. So, yeah, so I would say a big part, a first step is knowledge, awareness building. Start there. Once you're aware, there's quite a few things you can do. I think the main thing I'll focus on is energy, because that's related to burnout, which is very common in teachers. So you need to recognize what is draining your energy, your work, which unfortunately is a big part of the day. So that means that as much as possible, reduce extra work related, like sometimes teachers post school, they might have meetings. A lot of those I think are unnecessary. Put it in an email. And you might have, I actually don't know if teachers really do this that much, but in other work situations, you might have happy hour. It's more social time with your colleagues, which is not good for introverts. You've just worked a whole shift or a whole day. You're tired. You need to go home or go somewhere quiet and recharge. And that is non-negotiable. Sorry. Yeah, when you work with me, I make that really clear, because you're not going to improve your well-being ignoring this fact. You do need to recharge every day. It's not a once a week, once a month thing, or once a term thing. I think in a profession like teaching, where a lot of teachers actually burn out yearly, like it's sadly a yearly occurrence, maybe even a termly. Do you have terms in America?
Trimesters and semesters and quarters. That's what we
Oh,
call them.
okay. So I guess I'm talking about quarters in this case. Yeah. So burning out even quarterly or semesterly, it's really common for teachers. So you need to have things in place to support that. But I think also just recognize that it might happen, and give yourself grace around that, because you're doing an amazing job in a difficult situation. More specifically, with regard to energy, build in those recharge niches throughout the day if you can. Obviously, at the end of the day, do it. You need to recharge. But if you can build that throughout the day, do it. So I know my partner has some non-contact hours where he's not in the classroom, but like he's still getting paid. He's still at school. It's for like planning and marking and things, I think. Those are gold. If you have those built in throughout the week, throughout the day, make sure you're not using them to go and have a chat with someone, if you can. Okay, try and use them to go into your office, put on some music. Bilateral stimulation music is amazing for managing stress and helping us process the day, which is a big thing for introverts. We need time to just let our minds wander and process. So bilateral stimulation is helping the thoughts get moved throughout the brain by stimulating one ear at a time. Something to look into. I won't go too much into that. But
I
there's
think I know them as binaural beats.
Oh yes, yeah. That's I
Yeah.
believe that's the same thing. Same
Yeah.
name.
Yeah,
Same.
just if somebody's looking for it, that
Yes,
might be. Yeah.
binaural or bistimulate. Yeah, bistimulation.
Cool. All right. Next.
Cool. So build in restorative niches where you can. The other thing is, and this is relevant for your students as well, try and have a mix of activities in the classroom. So not all group work, but quiet time, individual time, where you can also be maybe having your sort of individual thinking process while the kids are doing theirs, not constantly discussing things, because this is great for extroverts, but then the other half of the kids, introverts, we actually need time to think on our own. We like to think on our own, reflect, and then bring those ideas into the group. So building in some introvert favoring activities and time is going to be beneficial for you and the kids. Let me think what else. For people who menstruate, a really key tip I like to give, because it's so simple, is schedule all your social activities for when you're ovulating, because you have a buffer then. You have an energy buffer, you have it's not a feelings buffer, but like you're less sensitive and you're less likely to get overstimulated during that time. So like go out with friends, do your social activities then, but then respect the other end of your cycle and really allow it to be introvert time, allow it to be time spent on your own. And then you don't have to feel, I think a lot of people feel guilty, or they feel like they should, I hate that word, but they should be doing more, seeing friends or family. Just build it in, think about it and build it into your cycle so that you are supporting yourself, because you can do everything. I would never say, introverts can't do things that extroverts can. We just need to be careful about it so we don't burn out.
Yeah, setting ourselves up for success. It's funny. I have a funny anecdote about that. So, I had on this podcast, I had a hormone coach who was offering some like biohack advice for kind of getting rid of PMS symptoms.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was useful. It was about when to lift weights and when to do cardio, and eat complex carbohydrates so that you don't get sugar cravings and give yourself a migraine. It was like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did it for the whole month, and then I had like no pain for my cycle, and I felt really even in my mood, and I didn't take my usual time that I really need to just go into my cave, because I was used to like using that those cramps and the bloating as like, okay, this is my time when I'm going to rest and take care of myself, and those physical symptoms were like my trigger to go do that.
Oh yes, yeah.
And so I missed out on that total introversion that I really, really need.
Yeah.
And I just kept going along with life as usual. And then I was so burnt out for the rest of the month, even though my hormones picked back up.
Yeah.
So just to your point, it's like, my whole spirit needs that.
Yeah. Yes. Because I track my cycle. I'm quite into that as well. I actually used to have more PMS before, when I didn't rest enough, and I think it was essentially my womb being like, hey, you have nothing left. I am screaming at you to slow down and rest. So I kind of, yeah, I think of it a little bit like that. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting because you can talk about biohacking as much as you want, but I like to think of it more as listening to your body because I feel like if you listen to your body, that is biohacking in a sense, that in the sense
Mhm.
that you are going to get the most from your body that way. However, I don't believe in trying to maximize our productivity. Like I'm a huge fan of Trisha Hersey's work on rest is resistance. Like I just think rest is our right. We deserve
Mhm.
rest, but not we don't rest in order to be more productive. We rest because we deserve rest and we need
Mhm.
it and it's good for us, you know?
I love that. And I want to hear what you have to say when you have little children. Because I'm thinking, like, I have to go and do with these unschooled hooligan monkey children.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a choice. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm quite interested myself to see what it's like for me because I want to unschool. I'm also very conscious that I'm a highly sensitive introvert, so I want to see is it going to be possible for me to unschool because it might not be, you know, and that might just be how it is. However, if I do, I mean, even schooling aside, just having kids, like you just don't have the freedom to rest when you need rest as much. Like sometimes you just have to go and take care of their needs, and it's hard to find that time to recharge. But yeah, I'm quite interested to see how I navigate that because this advice, yeah, I mean, I think kids throw a spanner into some of the advice I've given because yes, it's good advice, but uh, what about if you can't? Like, your kid's
Well,
sick
then
and
just
you,
forgive yourself, you know,
yeah,
and next chance you have, take it. Like that's
exactly. You just have to
yeah.
have, like, give yourself grace and do your best. And don't use the advice I'm giving you as something to beat yourself up over if you don't manage it. Yeah, it's about doing what you can for yourself when you can.
Sure. And you know, some mothers will do it to themselves, like making their kids too dependent on them. And you know, like I unschool and I don't make my kids like learn certain things, you know, according to some curriculum, but I am passionate about them knowing how to do dishes and vacuum and doing laundry. Like I I I I'm not going to say lecture, but this is like if I will die on a hill, it's that my sons will share the household work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's setting yourself up for success, really. Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's quite easy as women to take on that load and just not even maybe recognize these invisible loads that we're adding on to our everyone's normal workload. So yeah, I mean that's definitely where burnout is going to come in really hard and fast. So yeah, awareness again, key.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. We're okay. We're at 45 minutes already. Can you believe it?
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm gonna look at my notes because there were some questions that I really wanted to ask you. I think we're just kind of covering it all organically.
Yeah.
That was really great advice that you gave for teachers. And I have one client who's a high school teacher, and she started taking real breaks in her day. And in her
Oh,
teacher's
yes.
lounge, they have in her teacher's lounge because she's a department chair too. So it's like not only is she in charge of classes, but she has to like rally her whole department, and it's a lot. Um, and she started. using this resource that they have at their school in their teacher's lounge. They have massage chairs.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was so, yeah, so she started like turning off the lights, taking her 15 minutes of like a real break. So proud of her.
It's yeah, it's amazing because you because taking your break makes a huge difference, and it's just crazy how many people don't. It's that culture of grinding that really gets instilled in us, even in schools. So people don't take a lunch break. But also, I want to say 15 minutes, not even a huge break. Teachers, like I know my partner, that he's got like duties sometimes at lunchtime or morning tea. They don't even get the normal breaks a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
I do think it's a real challenge. But even if you can take 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, it adds up throughout the day and it makes a difference. And it's you keeping in contact, checking in with yourself, which is it's a huge gift to yourself. So yeah, even 5, 10 minutes, do it, take it.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I like to teach too, because I'm an energy worker, is how to tap into the earth's energy and resource yourself that way. So for anybody who's interested in the energy side of things, one thing that I really like to do is imagine that I have roots extending from my bottom and my legs and my feet into the ground and just feel that pulse of
Yeah.
the earth's energy coming up into my body. That's a good way to recharge as well, fill up the battery.
Yeah. I um I really like energy work, and I do like visualizations like that because when you're stressed and flooded, taking yourself out of that context where it feels like, fight or flight, it feels like survival, and into like nature, whether you do that literally, like physically going into nature and walking and being amongst the trees and breathing, or if you just visualize, it seems to have an amazing effect on our bodies. Like it really seems to calm our nervous system. I do a bit of nervous system work with my clients because it's so important. And all of us just seem to be like, particularly sensitive introverts, our nervous systems are fried daily and it's awful. It feels awful. So, yeah, working on that a little bit. And I think this will be true for a lot of introverted teachers is potentially daily nervous system screaming because, you're around so much noise at school. You're responding to so many people, kids' needs, and it's a lot. So yeah, things like that, like visualization, that takes 5 minutes, and you can do that. You just go into your office or into the bathroom or wherever you can find a
Hmm.
moment. Take 5 minutes. Yeah, it makes a
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah. I remember during COVID, my family, we thought, oh, the world's ending, so we need to sell our house.
Oh,
So it was just part of it. We had planned to like move here
yeah.
into to buy a family house, but anyways, we were like, I guess we better do it now because who knows? And so we moved into an RV, the four of us, and then we couldn't really like go talk to anybody. So it was like all of us packed into an RV, and my only alone time that I had, my children were like what, 3 and 5, like really little.
Mm.
The only time that I had was a walk to the mailbox and back.
Oh, wow. Oh,
And I was like, okay, they'll be okay in there. I'm like, don't come after me. You stay there. I'm gonna walk to, and I did it barefoot for maximum
yeah.
effect.
It's just your sacred walk to the mailbox each day.
It's something to build on though.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've got to start somewhere and you've got to work with the situation. And you did. You were like, this is my one opportunity each day. I am going to make the most of it.
Yeah. Crazy times. Yeah, definitely. And now I can go to the grocery store all by myself and leave them at home, which is not really an introverted activity, but it is nice to not have to juggle everything at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of relative, isn't it? Because for me, no kids, going to the grocery store is like, oh, no, I don't want to do it. I'll send my extroverted partner. It's just too overwhelming. But when I have been like caring for dependents, like when I have been in a situation where I've had all these demands on me, um, anything like that, anything leaving that behind feels relaxing.
Like the dentist was a spa treatment.
Yeah. So I believe self-care is community care. So for helping professionals in particular, I do understand this drive to give, give, and give, and then your cup is empty. Um, and I understand how easy it is to do because the work system does push people to overextend. What I would say is that it's definitely something that you have to constantly check in and reflect on because it's not easy to do this recharge work. The society we live in does not encourage us to take time to rest. It really doesn't. There's a lot of guilt and shame. So that is where we need to be a lot more conscious and notice, hey, am I feeling guilt for having a wee lie down and like having a cup of tea and a sit down? Like, am I feeling guilt and shame for that? What's the messages? Is it oh, I'm lazy, or I should be doing this and that? Like, what are the messages? We need to work with these and really get onto them because spoiler alert, if you don't rest, you are working yourself into an early grave. But also, when you do rest, I think that's when you do your best work. Like I've noticed for myself, because I struggle with this. Like I do struggle with the shame around resting still. What I find is that if I am tired, instead of pushing and pushing, just, oh, I'll do one more email or I'll do one more bit of work. If I stop and I have a rest, sometimes all I need is 15 minutes lying down. I'm a big fan of just lying down when things are too much. Um, I'll come back and I will smash out so much more work than if I had kept pushing. Again, the point is not to rest to be more productive, but having said that, it does kind of work out that way. If you fill your cup can then be poured. Like it is quite a cliche, but it's so true. More specifically about unhealthy introverts, I think I've actually bookmarked. So this is from Arnie Kozak's work. He's a PhD in psychology. Okay, so for introverts that have gotten a bit out of balance, you may find that your energy is low, you feel tired, sluggish, and heavy. Your thinking is slower than usual. You have trouble concentrating, finding words, and making decisions. Introverts can struggle with recall in conversation anyway, but this is when it's like really a lot. You may feel tense, stressed, frazzled, or overwhelmed. You want to withdraw, hide under the covers, and not talk. So those are some common ones that are really normal actually for introverts to feel when they're frazzled and overwhelmed and they don't have healthy coping strategies. So yeah, I just want to normalize that. If you are feeling that way right now, super normal. It's a sign to build in those good, healthy tactics and not rely on other coping mechanisms like binge watching TV or drugs, which people reach for because they are easier. It's actually easier than building consciousness. But if you can build consciousness, awareness, and then bring in healthy, regular recharge time, you're most of the way there.
It's wonderful. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up? How can people find you?
Okay, so I am pretty much only on Instagram at the moment. Just a little thing I'm doing to maintain my introvert energy. I'm only focusing on Instagram. So if you want to chat with me, if you want to see my work, head over to Instagram. My handle is Talia_introvert coach. And yeah, I'm actually really friendly. So if you have any questions, I love people asking me questions. It helps me build relevant content. So just DM me, reach out. Yeah, that's me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming and validating us introverts.
Thanks
I
for
remember,
having
okay,
me.
there was one question. When I asked you to be on this show, somewhere in our back and forth, you said, I suspected you might be an introvert.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, how do you how do you know that from the internet or social media or from the
Yeah.
group? Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess it's not obvious to other people, but it's when you work in this space, I work a lot with introverts. I am an introvert. There are definitely tells, there's definitely markers or common characteristics of introverts that I notice because I'm practiced at it. Um, but I guess generally it's my experience of the person as an introvert. So I can feel when I'm talking to an extrovert and I can feel when I'm talking to an introvert. I can't necessarily tell if you're really close to the middle. And I also, interestingly enough, I can't tell if someone has ADHD and they're an introvert, I can't tell that they're an introvert because
That's my
part of
husband. Totally.
yeah, see, I probably wouldn't be able to tell because
I can't tell. I'm like, wow, you keep talking to me.
yeah, yeah. Because they can bring so much. Like it is actually it's a wonderful ADHD strength. Is the energy that they can harness in the moment is so huge, that to me it doesn't feel like an introvert's energy. Not to say that introverts aren't energetic, but when you talk to them, um, I find it's a slower conversation. We take a little bit longer to recall words and
Hmm.
thoughts and things. So the pace of the conversation is slower, more comfortable for me. I don't get talked over as much. The the conversation goes deep real fast. There's a few markers like that. The way that I mean, obviously you're being a good podcast host, but you are definitely listening a lot. Extroverts, they tend to be very fast-paced talkers, so they will talk, 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 and you will get a sense of trying to find spaces to get words in edgeways. So
Hmm.
yeah, the reason I can tell is it's a bit of an experience. It's how I experience you. So I experienced you as an introvert, so I was like, probably an introvert.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's so interesting. I was just, I had to put a pin in that. Like, this was
Mm.
from like a month ago that you said that. I was like, oh, what? Um, oh, okay. My last question, even though I keep saying we're wrapping it up. Um, what would you like extroverts to know about introverts?
Mm. Wow, that is a good one. Okay. I would like extroverts to put in a bit more effort to make social spaces more comfortable for introverts because extroverts have uh, a privilege, they have an advantage in society, and that society favors extroverts, extroverted personalities, right? We're in the we're post-industrialization, so we're crammed into cities. It's very much an extrovert's haven lifestyle. So I'd really like extroverts to be more conscious of making the social arena comfortable for introverts. It's not only for introverts to learn how to be more social or better at conversational. Um, it's about extroverts learning how learning good communication, conversation etiquette. That's what I call it. So things like making sure the conversation is equal, it's even. You're not doing all the talking, and the introvert's not just like getting all the information and having to be in the listening role. But yeah, make sure it's even. Ask questions, give them time to think and answer. Um, Introverts will take longer to answer because every question we get, even how are you, we go, hmm, how am I? Like how am I really? Like it's we take it in deeply, we reflect and then we answer, and that takes time. So if you're an extrovert and you're fast-paced, try to slow it down. Try to engage in deeper conversation with introverts. Try to listen more. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the type of conversation is important. So we introverts, like I've said, we do really well with deep conversations. We do really well with just a couple of topics, not jumping around, lots of covering lots of topics, but small talk.
Mm.
We also don't necessarily do so well with like heaps of complaint conversation. So if you're venting, just make sure that that introvert has the capacity at that time to hear you. This generally is just good conversation etiquette, regardless of whether you're introverted or extroverted. Just make sure that person, just make sure you're not dumping on them.
That
Because
makes sense because introverts take things so deeply
yeah, we do.
that it's like
And
if you're
we'll
purging your
listen.
negative feelings,
Yeah.
yeah, that takes a lot of energetic
Yes.
boundarying and cycling through for the
Yeah.
highly sensitive.
Yeah, and women as well. We're just kind of we get a bit molded to just listen and take on that yeah, that emotional the negative energy and we process it. We're like trees. We like process it and put
Yeah.
out good stuff. So
Hmm.
just being conscious, both extroverts and introverts, being conscious of what's actually happening in the social arena because there's a lot of layers and a lot going on, and we don't have to be always the listeners getting dumped on, you know? We can say, okay, sorry, I just want to stop you there. I need some time. And then I'll be more than happy to chat with you, but I can't right now. Like we can assert our needs. It's just, it's hard and it takes practice.
Yeah, yeah. And what you said about learning to make situations more comfortable for introverts. I'm thinking of like just yesterday, I put out an episode about circling, about sacred circles.
Yeah.
And that is my favorite way to socialize. And that's
Oh.
pretty much like, unless it's either a one-on-one conversation with a friend
Mm.
or I'm in circle. Like those are the only two ways I elect to socialize.
I love that. I love circles because they're really deep actually and they're really held. Um, so it's quite oh for me anyway, it's definitely a very comfortable space to socialize and it's quite safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that like I've heard some criticism of people who only like to socialize in circles. It's like, "Oh, well, you're controlling. You can't handle like the chaos of the universe." And it's like, "No, like bring all of who you are, but let's sit in
Yeah.
depth. Like I want to feel all of who a person is, like including your chaos if that's what's there. Like that's
Yeah.
okay." It's just like there's so much irrelevance that
Yes.
comes up in an extroverted space.
Yes. I'm surprised you hear that criticism actually. I've never thought of it as controlling because I think it's actually very freeing. Like you as you say, you come with all of you and you release whatever you want to release and you don't know going into a circle who's going to bring what. So I find it
Right.
can be quite chaotic, but in a good, a held way and a quite a safe way to release that chaos.
Yeah, and it everybody stepping into it agrees to hold a certain level of like integrity and
Mm,
respect for the other people there.
yeah.
You know, and that doesn't mean you're dishonest.
No.
It just means like we're here to be with each other and what you say matters and
Mm.
please be reverent.
Yeah, and it's often you hold space for one like you let one person speak at a time and they have that holding of hey, this is my time. can speak. I'm not going to get talked over. I'm going to be held. And that's actually really, I think, really quite healing for introverts, because we do get talked over a lot in the workplace, etc. Because we, like I said, we're listeners, and extroverts are just faster talkers. So
And louder and
yes, and
like,
louder. Mm.
yeah, all of those things. Wow. Well, thank you so much. Okay, I feel satisfied now uh, with this conversation. I just appreciate you, and I really appreciate your content that you share,
Oh,
and just keep up the good work. And
thank
thanks for,
you.
bringing it for all of us introverts.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I have really enjoyed this conversation. It's been magical. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. If this spoke to you, give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. To discover which of the 5 petals is asking for your care right now, take the free 5 petals assessment at bridgidburkano.com/self-assessment. In closing, I'll leave you with a favorite phrase I learned in Circle. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, and what's ours is ours. Until next time, be well.